So she went up a couple of days before and babysat, and then she flew home, and then my plane, right, she came in on Southwest, I came back on JetBlue, and, you know, we passed in the air, and we babysat separately, but mission accomplished, no one was injured, no one was lost, no one got arrested, it was good all around. So, coming home on the plane, and you know, I have a lot of anxiety. I think, you know, I probably shared this with you guys before. You probably know me. I'm an open book, you know, and so I'm very particular about when I'm on a plane, and I paid for, what I thought I paid for was an aisle seat with extra room. I'm very OCD about, you know, I have a ritual that I do, wiping down the plane, and, you know, power washing the seat, and, you know, all of that stuff. I get really, really crazy. So it's hard for me to relax. It's hard for me, you know, this is all in this flesh, in this name and form. My ego self, not my, you know, the true nature of the self is untouched by germs. It is, the soul, the spirit, Atman, Hindus say, the Atman, or the Geo, as the Sikhs say, is untouched by germs or sadness or grief or anything. It's perfect. It's light. It's love. It always exists. It was never born and it never dies. Like that we know. But I forget. I'm constantly forgetting and thinking that who I am is my ego self. This body, you know, this personality, this intellect. So I have a lot of OCD tendencies and a lot of anxiety, and I really get claustrophobic. So when I get my boarding pass, I guess I don't realize that it's a middle seat. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you identify. Excellent, good. So I immediately start going into this panic mode and not wanting to surrender to what is. You know, I mean, like it is what it is. Like I look at the boarding pass and it is, in fact, 4B. and you want to change it. You want to change it because you're not happy with what is. This is life on life's terms. This is our practical reality. You know, this is apparent reality. And you know, in the scheme of things, I'm not going to die. But I feel like I'm going to die. Like I feel like it's the end of the world. You know, and so right now I'm in the middle seat. Here comes somebody and says, "Excuse me, but I have the window." And I'm like, okay, that's not so bad. Maybe. You know, I'm still holding out on wanting to change my reality by hoping that no one sits next to me. So here comes this woman. She's an older woman, and she's filled with a lot of perfume. And my ego immediately starts judging the situation. And I'm uncomfortable. And I'm out of my skin. You ever feel like that where you want to unzip yourself out of your skin? That's how you feel. Okay, so I'm not the only one who suffers from some mental illness. Fine. So I call over the flight attendant and I say, you know, I think I made a mistake, or there is a mistake. You see, like that's what we do, right? Reality comes, life on life's terms comes, and we're like, no, it's a mistake. This isn't supposed to be the way it's supposed to be, right? So I tell her my tale of woe, and she says, well, let's wait and see what happens. Oh, I don't know about you, but I'm instant gratification. I want to know what seat you're letting me go into later, and when can I do it, you know? She says, let's wait and see, because it's a full plane. So we take off, and it is a full plane. And she comes over to me, you know, right as, you know, we're taking off, and she says, the 11th row, it's an emergency seat, and there's an aisle, and you can have that seat when we get to that particular altitude. So you know that's all I'm focused on now, right? Like I can't concentrate, like I can hardly even swallow, right? No less breathe in and out and be in acceptance of what is. Because all I'm focused on is when are we going to get to that altitude so that I can get up. So finally we do, and I have to ask the lady next to me, who's all dressed up, this woman, she's dressed up, and the perfume is just like, and she's eating her sandwich, and I have to like bow her now to get, because I also have like some codependent stuff where it's like I don't want to bother her, but the anxiety is so bad, I really need to get up. So finally I get up and I move. Now no sooner do I move to my new seat, my aisle, I have to do the whole ritual again too with the germs and everything now. No sooner does that happen, they make an announcement over the air and they say, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" So my ego immediately goes, "I'm a doctor." But I'm not that kind of doctor. You know? I have a PhD in social work, right? Not medicine, you know? But then I was a former lieutenant in the NYPD, and I was there for Ground Zero, so I'm a responder. I'm a first responder. I want to respond first. So I want to get up. I really do. I want to get up. So of course I realize that I do not have a medical degree, and I better just sit down and mind my own business. And the person who gets up is the lady with the perfume. So a couple of things happen here because, I ultimately never really had to move. I would have always had an aisle seat because she never sat down because she was a doctor. There was a man in respiratory failure on the plane, and he started going unconscious. And she was a doctor, like a real doctor. Not like Reverend Dr. Grace Telesco, but like a real doctor. What was his name? Marcus Welby. Yes, thank you. Marcus Welby, exactly. So she stood the whole time. It was an hour and a half that she was working on him. Getting his vitals, giving him oxygen. He was unconscious. And there was a part of me that wanted to just get up and really say, "I'm a lieutenant and I can help in any way. If you need crowd control or something, I can help." And then I thought, well, I'm a minister and I should be giving him last rites or something. I should be doing something. Then I thought about all of the choices that we have. Because it was a full plane, so there were people who were like annoyed. They were annoyed because they couldn't get down the aisle anymore to go to the bathroom. There were people who were annoyed because they had to stop the beverage service. There were people who were absolutely indifferent, like they couldn't care less. They had their things on and they were listening to their music, or they were in their computer, or whatever the case may be. In the Hindu tradition, in the scriptures, especially, in the Bhagavad Gita, we talk about karmic action. And there's 3 kinds of karmic action, right? Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. There won't be a quiz, so you don't have to memorize this. And there's no PowerPoint associated with this. However, just know that there's 3 kinds. One is like ego. Is ego karmic action, right? The second one is like this kind of lazy sloth, indifference, like I don't even care about anybody else but myself, and let me go back to sleep. And the third is the pure, holy, the real reason why we're here, to love, to serve, and to remember. So once I got my ego, my Rajas out of the way, my Rajas was the one who wanted to say, "I am Dr. Telesco, former lieutenant, let me help. I'm here to save the day," right? Because that's what I want to do. I always want to be the one to save the day, right? I also noticed that I have a lot of anxiety, which you also noticed, and that is, I want to fix it. I want to fix it because I'm anxious about it. So I want to help control it somehow, or manipulate it, or change it so that I don't feel anxious. All of that is good. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. But it's still not our real purpose. That's Rajas karmic action. That's ego-driven, right? Sattvic, which is pure and holy, is getting out of my mind, which I am mostly out of my mind, but besides that, is getting out of the mind, out of the intellect, out of the ego, out of the personality, and going to the true nature of the self. Remember a couple of months ago or weeks ago, I talked about the Ark of the Covenant. How many of you were here for that one? So we talked about the rod of Aaron, right? The rod of Aaron, that was the rod that Moses used Red Sea, right? In the Kabbalistic tradition, the mysticism, Jewish mysticism, we talk about inserting this certainty into our intention. That's what Moses did when he raised the rod of Aaron, right? And we have our own rod of Aaron. So I sat there in the chair thinking, what can I do? How can I help? After all, I am a minister, Reiki practitioner. I don't know, I just feel like I want to do something. This man, it appears as though he's dying on the plane. I mean, and it really was. Like, he really was, like, dying. So I was on Facebook. I was able to get, you get Wi-Fi now, so I'm on Facebook, and I put out a prayer intention. And in that hour, it was 100 people joined in prayer. And again, choices. So people on Facebook could have chosen to ignore the post, to just like the post, to actually put something on the post, like prayer hands or actual words. I mean, some people, and I put out, I was calling all Reiki practitioners, light workers, healers, people who believe in the power of prayer, because I do believe in the power of prayer. Like, I believe in the power of intention, but I also believe in the power of choice. We make a choice to remind ourselves what is our purpose. See, my purpose wasn't to get up and try to fix it. That wasn't my purpose. My purpose wasn't to do crowd control. My purpose wasn't to help the flight attendants. My purpose was to sit still in my chair and do what I can do best, which is pray. Set an intention with certainty, inserting certainty, using my rod of Aaron to part the Red Sea. Aha, but here's the thing. Results. What were the results? Did the guy live? I felt like now we're landing and they're saying, please, we have to allow the ambulance to come on and the paramedics to come on, and we're not allowing anybody to get off the plane right now, and here comes the flight attendant again, and I'm like, is he going to be okay? I mean, and I was really concerned, like, is he going to be okay? And she said, I don't know. And I felt like I wanted to let the Facebook people be alerted that their prayers worked. Because after all, if we pray for something and it doesn't happen, well, then that must mean that God doesn't like us, we didn't pray hard enough. No, we're not in the results business. There's a divine plan. And what if this man did die? Well, what a beautiful way for those who were on the plane also praying, because I forgot to tell you that I was kind of doing like a little bit of holding space Reiki, here. And then my ego goes, you don't know Reiki really well. You don't really do Reiki really that good. That's ego. That's the ego mind, right? But the soul has to respond. The Atman has to respond and say, it isn't about you. It's about Source. And Source's Reiki is perfection. But it's not about whether or not this man was going to actually start breathing or come to consciousness or live. Do you understand? Like, it's not that. That's not the point. The point is that we surrounded him with love and light. We surrounded the flight attendants with love and light. We surrounded the doctor with the perfume in love and light. So that she could be her highest good and do her best and serve her purpose. And everybody on that plane and all the people who connected with me on Facebook had a purpose. And the purpose was to be mindful and to be present. Now, I often fail. I confess that regularly every time I'm here. I don't always have sattvic intentions or sattvic action. But the gift is in the awareness. So there were a lot of lessons on this plane. Number one, if I had just sat still long enough and been in acceptance, I would have had not only an aisle seat, but I would have had a middle seat. If I had never moved, I would have been closer to the action. See, I put myself farther away in row 11. I was in row 4. The man was in row 2. I would have been closer. So see, I moved myself because I was so caught up in my own anxiety instead of just being still and accepting and surrendering. But that's okay. God is always giving me, Source is always giving me fodder for my sermons. Namaste.